Start your day the joyful way. It's your weekday morning talk show inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes. And now here's your host, the queen of joy herself, Jessica Dugas. Good Thursday morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, May 26, 2022. I continue to say, I don't know where May went. Someone took it and ran off with it, and it's not okay. I'm just going to say that. Also, you know it's on today when I have my Boss Lady mug out. Feeling much better today than I was yesterday. I'm going to tell you what. I have tried to tell people that I am an early bird in both sense of the word. I'm out in bed early in that night, but when most people are still up. Last night, I remember saying, I don't know, it was 7:00 and I could still see, I have the blackout curtains in my room and I could still see the light coming from, and I'm like, why is it still light outside right now? It was horrible. So when 2 nights ago, when I woke up at 2:30 in the morning and could not get back to sleep, listen, it was bad yesterday. I was all but a zombie yesterday evening. I don't know what was going on. I was trying to tune into the Jackson show and I'm like, just, having one of those moments where I'm just nodding off. It was horrible. But I'm feeling much better today. Had some much better sleep last night, which I would hope so with the lack of the night before. But I remember saying to my husband, I didn't realize what time it was, and there was still the light coming in. I said, why is there light coming in? And he's like, it's only 7:00, dear. Most people are still awake at this point. So I just cannot. I cannot. But this is how I get when I get excited about things, when I have things on the precipice of happening in my life, and I lose it. So you may see a little bit of disheveled Jessica in the next few weeks, but I'm here for it. The changes and the challenges that come with change are good, and they're an opportunity, as we talked about yesterday, to walk our talk. If we're talking about personal development and finding the joy and being grateful and all of these things, when we have those challenges come up in our lives, what an opportunity for us to be what we say we are and walk our talk and all of that good stuff. So excited. Today we have Kenneth Lord back on the show, leadership coach, and finishing out his series. Another bittersweet moment. We've had so much fun this last month. Yesterday I think we were all crying by the end of Scott's conversation. And so it's been a lot of fun this last month doing these series. We still have 2 more to finish up next week with Shifra on Monday and her mattering, and Laura on Tuesday, when we're tapping more into empowerment and talking specifically about spiritual empowerment on Tuesday. But we are finishing up Kenneth's self-mastering series today, and we'll have him on in a little bit to talk about mastering sales. But don't go running off if you are not in sales, if you are not in business for yourself, because these are going to be concepts everybody can apply to their lives, as the other things we've talked about: leadership, relationships, and of course, self-mastery in general. Also, it's a very exciting day because we have a brand new show premiering on the Breakthrough Show Network this afternoon with Juju, and she is in the background right now as well, and will be joining us at the end of the show to give us a little hello and good morning. I had to drag her out of bed, kicking and screaming to come join us. We were all joking around in our Discord community this morning about being awake, and thank you, Miss Brittany, by the way, who I know is in the comments this morning for the cat gif. She put there's a cat gif. If you look up gifts for good morning, there is this cat that looks like it had been just come out of the water or something, and its hair dried kind of like this. And it was like, good morning. And I'm the one that's usually, running around like a little fairy throwing glitter on people in the morning when they're like, oh no, it's too early. So we were having a good time with that this morning as well. What else is bringing me joy today? Oh, have to share. So if you guys tuned in last episode of My Way with Joel Solomon, I got his book in the mail yesterday, the 9 money rules that millionaires use. I'm really excited to dive into this book. And I've shared before, I totally love when people send me their books and they write on the inside for me. I am going to end up moving to a second shelf of Breakthrough Network books because I have so many at this point, and 3 of mine included. Hello, and so it's nice to see that, and I'm really excited to dive into this because Andy Dooley wrote the foreword for this book as well, which a lot of you guys know him in the personal development space, and excited to dive into that. So thank you so much, Joel, for sending the book. Was really thrilled to get that yesterday. We are also, how many days now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days till my oldest 21st birthday, and that is all. I'm just mentioning it every day to remind myself to get it together. What else is going on? As I mentioned, lots of shifting and changing going around here behind the scenes of the show, and also for me personally. And I cannot share enough the importance of, creating the kind of space that can make you feel grounded and comfortable when things are going crazy behind the scenes. I have my whole ritual that I do in the morning. I get up usually 5-ish a.m. and I go through my personal stuff, and then I come out and I get my lemon water, and sometimes I'll get my decaf coffee. I know it is sadness water, but I can't have caffeine. And so then I come in here, and I usually light my candle. I talk to my flower. I'm trying desperately to keep my orchid alive. I am not good with the house plants. I will be complete, and it's horrible because I'm halfway through my my herbalist certificate, and I cannot with the plants. I try so hard. I sing to them. I love them. I water them, and all of that. So I'm doing well with the orchid that I got for Mother's Day so far. So she is good. Also, do you guys remember the cactus? Do you remember, for anybody if you're new, I will digress for just a moment. We play Pokemon Go with the kids, and we were off to the side of a cemetery here in Florence, Alabama. And, we were chasing Pikachu, because that's what we do when we play the Pokemon Go with the kids. And there was this just land on the side of the road that doesn't belong to anybody per se. It's just there. There's like an old rundown building. Nobody's doing anything. But all along the side of the road there were these random cactus, and just nobody was taking care of them. Half of them were being eaten by animals and planted in the ground. And my daughter goes, "I want a cactus." My husband stops the car, gets out. There was a whole joke about this when I was on Java Delight, because just long story. But at any rate, my husband gets out, just literally grabs the cactus out of the ground, and comes in the car, and it's like, "Here." And so we came home and we planted it, and we have it on the entranceway. I don't know feng shui wise if having a cactus in the entranceway is a great idea, but it's a good place for light for the cactus. And so this cactus we've had on the thing, and it has grown like 3 new cactus. We have to replant it eventually here, because now we have like 3 cactus in this container. But we've had no problems keeping the cactus alive, but I have literally killed everything else in this house. I try so hard. But I'm doing well with my orchid. Let's continue to send my poor orchid good vibes that I keep it alive and well. So I come in and I light my candle and I have a moment with my orchid, and then I come look over my schedule. I play around with stuff on here, and I do my 4 love poem with friends from around the world at 6 a.m. and then get ready for the show, and I'm off. and I'm good to go. And my apologies if the connection is a little wonky right now. It looks like there might be a couple of issues, but I'm going to say hi to everybody before we get to chatting and having Kenneth on this morning. Brittany's here this morning, of course. Good morning. Juju's here both in the audience and behind the scenes. Good morning, Juju. Good morning, Brittany. Who else do we have going on here this morning? Hello, Miss Judith. You are back in Michigan. I'm so glad to hear that. I hope the trip was safe and enjoyable. Love it. And I'm glad to see you here this morning. Anne Marie is here. Yesterday I put in I should have sent out a text. I did not. My apologies for that. I put a message in the Discord yesterday that I just needed to sleep yesterday. I was so exhausted from having been up since. I think you might have missed that yesterday morning, Anne Marie. At the beginning of the show, I was sharing that I was out, like just I don't know how I functioned for the show yesterday, to be honest. Let's see. Deja's here this morning. Good morning, Deja. Listen, Miss Deja, let me tell you about, this is going to turn into another show. My husband and that amazing beard cream that we got from Deja has incredible skincare and all of that. And my husband has a bit of a beard now. And so we got some of the beard. Lord, this is going to turn into an after hours show. That's it. Thank you, Miss Deja. You're amazing. It's good to see you here. Anne Marie, I didn't know that. We need to exchange Pokemon codes, Anne Marie. We need to do that because we're adults and that's what we do. Brittany says, this show always helps me. I always feel safe and happy. So in other words, what brings me joy today is the Breakthrough Show Network. Thank you, Jessica, for creating a safe and phenomenal space. Brittany, thank you so much. That means the world to me. And that's been the effort since day one, is to make it a safe space. And while I know that the comments are public, and especially with the Breakthrough Show, you guys, our numbers for the Breakthrough Show this month are at 62,000. 62,000. Like I cannot on E360T. I almost fell off my chair when I saw that for this month. So even though the shows are public, so to speak, in a big way, it really does still feel like that safe space. And I really appreciate you acknowledging that. It means a lot. Mr. Kevin Kiley's here this morning. Kevin Kiley may or may not have new music coming out soon. We're going to play some Kevin Kiley music on the show for Fun Friday tomorrow, just because we can. And we love Kevin. And I know I'm going to be seeing Kevin very soon. Hint, hint. Thank you, Miss D. Oh, well, I'm skipping around here. Thank you, Miss Deja. It's good to see you. Mandy's here this morning. I know somebody else who's going to be on the Breakthrough Show this afternoon. Yes, very exciting. Thank you guys all for being here right now. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with our last section of our self-mastering series with Kenneth Lord right after the break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and today is Thursday, May 26, 2022. You saw our little supporter shout out going down there at the bottom. I want to thank everybody who continues to support this network, whether you show up, whether you financially support the network, however you do, we appreciate you so much. And we encourage you to join our community, bit.ly/Discord breakthrough. I'll put it down in the comments in a little bit here. I'm very excited it's a bittersweet moment, as I shared, because it is the final installment of our self-mastering series. So without further ado, we are going to welcome back leadership coach Kenneth Lord to the show. Welcome back, Kenneth.
Good morning, Jessica. How are you? Thank you so much for having me again.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. As I shared yesterday, it's a bittersweet moment. We have come to the end of our series.
Yes. Until the next time.
Yes. It's always challenging for me, though. I love the, new beginning. So endings are challenging for me. Even if I know it's for the best, even if I know it's temporary, I'm still like, oh.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've thought about that myself, actually, because I just love to, engage in these conversations, and I love the interaction. Everything about it. Thank you, Brittany. Yeah. So I love the whole process. So it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's been wonderful sharing the stage, sharing the screen with such amazing people this last month, and really getting a start, because I feel like summertime is easy for us to kind of just get caught up in the, we're relaxing. A lot of people are vacationing. Kids are off school for a lot of people. There's a lot of things going on. And so sometimes we can take anything that we're working with ourselves and go, well, it's just not important right now.
It's true.
So I feel like this is a good, little shove to, hey, don't forget you this summer.
That's right. Well, you're doing an excellent job at bringing those people and pieces together, right? So It's amazing how you're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, we've been talking about self-mastering this whole series. We've talked a little bit about the concept of self-mastering to begin with. We've talked about relationships. We've talked about leadership. So why don't we quickly, for anybody that's just joining us for this part of the series, give everybody a little recap of what we've been talking about when it comes to self-mastering.
So essentially the context in which we're talking really about it's really about mastering, and sometimes we can get confused with the word mastery versus mastering. I just want to make sure that's clear, because mastery is where you've come to a point you've come to a point in which you've mastered something, and that's completion. The mastering part of it is where you're actually continuously mastering and perfecting and refining. I always say we're always refining instead of beating yourself up, and so the more that we are refining who we are as example setters in all the areas of our lives, and it's whether it be relationships, leadership, sales, being a dad, being a mom, just in every area of our lives, it's important to realize that we're constantly refining who we are, how we're showing up, how we're communicating with others, how we're communicating with ourselves, and being a good example for ourselves first, so we can be a better example to others. Mm-hmm. And so this whole conversation about mastering is just looking at each piece, each area in our lives, and doing our best every moment of our lives to be the best that we possibly can. And self-awareness is really the key to understanding more about who we are.
Mm, absolutely. And I love the couple things that I wanted to make sure to highlight for everybody is what he was first talking about mastery versus mastering, because him and I had that conversation before we ever did the series. And I said, I just want to make sure that we are clear that we're talking about that continual evolution of working on ourselves and not like an arrival point and, oh, everything's magical and finished now.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yes.
then the other part is that example setters part, which I think you highlighted so beautifully in our leadership portion of the series. Because when we talk about leadership, I feel like people hear that word and think of it as sounds a little too daunting for me, or I don't
Yeah.
consider myself a leader in whatever way that expectation looks like.
Yeah.
And what we've made clear, what you made clear beautifully in that portion was about that it's just about being an example setter. So whether you're a mom, a garbage collector, a coach, a teacher, whatever that is, it's being an example setter in whatever area of your life, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And that it's so important to realize that, you know, we put this context of you know, other people judging us, and but we actually put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Mhm.
And but at the end of the day, the reality for us is that, do we want to have a happier family? Do we want to have a happier, you know, career? Do we want to have more success in our lives, and just more fulfillment in our lives? So all these things about mastering, all these things about being a good example setter, for instance, they're always designed for the betterment, for the good of who you are, the outcomes in which you're looking to create in your lives. And oftentimes it's a moment by moment thing. It's not just in every whenever I want to thing. You know, if you want to lose weight, it's not that you can't have certain things, is that you're wanting to pay attention to those things more often, clearly defining what your ultimate goal is consistently throughout your life,
Right.
and then moving, doing whatever those steps are to achieve that specific goal
Right.
in every area of our life, in every area of our life.
Yes, absolutely. And I know when you were talking about what we get to choose to do, what we get to do, I had shared, I'm trying to go back and find my note that I had made, because as you said it, I thought about it. I had shared on one show, I think it was a Tuesday when Laura Mazzata was on, and I was talking about, oh, there it is. I write in my planner at the end of the day 3 wins that I have and then how I can improve. And I noticed language really quickly that I was writing in the how I'll improve, of where it was like I was scolding myself and it through my language, and I didn't really realize how harsh I was being, but I was like, pay more attention to, like, next time do XYZ, and I'm like, whoa, where is that coming from? And I had to kind of redirect and go, no, I am respecting myself through this process. I am allowing myself to, I get to do this next time. And that reframe is just a huge breakthrough moment in itself.
Yeah, and keep something in mind that a lot of times we don't recognize that we are by nature, just for the fact that we are 99.9% space, we're always pulling off of each other. So you may have pulled some emotion, some energy, something off of someone else that you didn't recognize actually wasn't yours. But essentially, it happens to affect you. It could, you know, you could walk into a room, not have a headache. All of a sudden you have a headache. You're wondering, why did that
Right.
happen? And, or maybe you're being positive, and all of a sudden you get these kind of negative thoughts, or feel weird about something. Right. And so it's very important to recognize and to realize what's happening each part of your day, every moment, where you're at, and what you're doing.
Right. Absolutely. Heather said if we talk to others the way we talk to ourselves, people wouldn't be our friends. I think sometimes that's very true. We recognize and then we say, I would never say that to my friend or my child or my spouse or whoever. And then going, okay, maybe we need to reframe this a little bit. I
Yes.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about mastering sales today. And I asked you all to hang on with me because I know not all of you are entrepreneurs or salespeople or anything like that where you might think you use sales, but Kenneth has promised me that this is for everyone today. So let's dive in. Kenneth, where would you like to start?
Sure. Well, I kind of want to just kind of frame it a little bit with, we all know that we're always selling, right? And so essentially, whether it be your child, for instance, and you're wanting your child to get to do something for you, or you're communicating with your partner and you're wanting them to buy into something that you want, for example, right? And so that the context of sales in this example and the way that we're communicating with this topic today is really about communicating in a way that where you're conveying who you are, and it could be a product, service, vision, cause, or purpose. It could be an idea. It could be what you're wanting, for instance, in a way that others will receive it, accept it, and understand it in their way of receiving it, accepting it, and understanding it. And one of the ways that we do that is through what I call relating. And how there's two ways I've identified that we relate. One is through direct experience, where, for example, you have a child, I have a child, they're the same age or similar age, they're this, a male or female, and that's the direct ability to relate through that experience. Or maybe there's a hobby, for instance. The second, in my opinion, more important one or most empowering one is where it's an internal relatability. So an example of that would be where a mother and a child, the child isn't able to verbally communicate yet. And so they start crying, and the mother just intuitively or internally knows by their inner connection and through what I call deeply caring and possibly anticipating and being able to fulfill what that child's needs are in that moment. And my opinion is when we're all willing, not able, when we're all willing to deeply care, we're able to impact the world. And so this principle of relating is really in all areas of our lives. And the reason why that's important is because when we're relating, we're able to come from a point of compassion. So, for example, if you've had financial difficulties, I've had financial difficulties. If you had relational issues, I have relational issues, and you're starting to tell me about these situations in your relationships or in your financial situation, and I've experienced it, I'm going to have compassion for you. And my belief is that if we had several of these abilities, these contexts of relating to someone else, and we're talking to someone throughout the day, let's just say it's every hour, and we have compassion for that person, for instance, in that situation, we're going to continuously have this compassion that comes from within us out. And I believe ultimately we could become compassion itself. So as we begin to come to that point of understanding, we become clear within ourselves because we're receiving the context of this compassion. We're experiencing compassion. We're understanding where someone's coming from, and we're able to relate to them in a deeper way, in a way that we're able to communicate who we are, right? And so so as it relates to any area of our lives, the more we're able to relate to someone else, the more compassion that we can come from, and therefore we can communicate and convey who we are, our ideas, the way that we see things, in a way that other people receive it, accept it, and understand it. It's almost like you're saying, I'm here, you're here, and I'm going to communicate my idea to you, but it's because I understand you so well.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go back. There was so much in that I want to kind of unpack a little bit. Going back to just the concept of relating, and I have to shout out to my husband on this as well, because my husband's been in sales a long time. And one of the oldest sales things in the book that they teach you, that they taught me in sales when I was in sales, which is feel, felt, found. And when you're in a conversation with somebody, being able to relate to them, saying like, I understand how you feel. Yeah. And then I have felt that way before too, like, and finding that common ground. And what I found is, and that moving into kind of that sales process, but that the 3 F's are like something that I always remember. And I find myself, participating in that kind of, that relating mentality. Like you said, no matter, even when I'm not in sales, I'm always looking for that thing that we have in common, that thing that, even if it's just something, the smallest thing I can find, we have the same color hair, we have the same glasses on, something that I can, grab onto and have that relatable moment.
Yeah. And that's an interesting place to be, or concept, as it relates to the feel, felt, and found, because there's a couple things I'll say about all of that. One is that this ability to relate, in my opinion, comes before rapport. Even comes before rapport.
Right.
And looking at the whole premise of this, that sales tactic is a sales tactic, right? That doesn't mean that you don't feel, or that you don't relate to that person, but it's truly a genuineness coming from within us. And we're able to understand people better. Now, big companies, if you looked at companies, they do this all the time. Just what you talked about, right? Which is, they track all of our data, and all of our data tells them, hey, this person's shopping here, this person's doing this. And what they're looking to do is create that ability to sell you something in your way of seeing it, in your way of interpreting it, in your way of understanding it. We have a natural ability. They're doing it technologically, for instance. They're manipulating the system. I'll just, in their own way, right?
Yeah.
But there's a deeper way of doing that really comes from that point of understanding who we are. It helps us to understand better who we are as example setters, as know thyself principles. It helps us to understand who we are in terms of maybe our ideas, how we want to communicate with ourselves, how we want to communicate with others. It really does kind of, it breaks the code of the external side of things, which is what you and I were just talking about, which is when you're in sales, you say this, and you're in this process to the big companies and so forth. That isn't, the code is within us, right? And that ability to relate helps us to understand our child better. Helps us because our intentions are so pure, they're so clean, they're so clear, that we want to understand that our intentions are where it all begins. And so the intentional side of that is to really intend to understand our child, our partner. It's really important to come from that point of understanding, and that point of understanding is going to give us simultaneous understanding, simultaneous reality. And that ability to relate is an interconnectedness rather than an external one.
Right. It's important in all of that to be genuine. Like you said, the big companies are using these same exact concepts, but it may not necessarily be coming from this warm, I want to get to know you place. It's, I want to sell you something, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so it's important, if we want to use this in all the areas of our lives, to be genuine about it, to really, don't make up the feel, felt, found things. If you don't feel it, if you've never felt it, don't say you have, because then it doesn't come across as genuine. And that ties into the other part that I wanted to point out. I loved how you said, become compassion itself. Because this whole concept of compassion and reaching that through this process of sales as well is something that can help us in the most challenging of times, and with the most challenging of people in our lives. And I have talked before about being compartmentalizing a little bit in relationships, or even with anybody that we know, because we can have deep compassion for someone. We can have that relatability with someone. That doesn't mean we are them. It doesn't mean we have to like everything that they do. But that finding compassion piece can give us peace in where we might not be able to find anything otherwise.
Yeah. and that's so true, isn't it? Because it also gives you the ability to come from a point during your engagement and interaction with those individuals, the ability to hold your place and your power. Because remember, our relationship is one with us internally. So whether your conversation is where you're facing disagreements, or whether it's just in general conversations, whatever the circumstance in life, it allows you to hold your place in your power, in your compassion, in that truth of who you are, and not buy into all the emotion that's swirling around you. And I want to say that one of the things that I've heard is to be the mountain, right? Where where you don't move. Well, the other piece to understanding is in the center of the hurricane, it's still. So all these things could be moving around you, but it doesn't mean that you you have to move with them. You can be still in the center of that hurricane. And so this allows you to really understand and move in your life in the place of stillness, and truly walk in your power, in your true power. And therefore, all the things that you ever want or desire are going to come to you, rather than you have to push them or try to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've ever been referred to as a hurricane, don't take that as a bad thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Some of us may or may not be able to relate to that. I love that. I think let me just ask. So when times have been challenging for you to reach to that relatable space or compassionate space, what have you done, or what do you suggest people do in those moments? Is it just automatically like, this is not for me, moving on, or is there something that you suggest people do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Jessica, for because my intention during these sessions is more to share ideas and share ways, more teaching, rather than me just being here as answering, And so essentially, because it's been, a journey, it's always a journey, right? We're always refining. And so oftentimes, there's a consistency in the moment by moment with me personally. So, as I mentioned, shared with you before, I ponder 3 to 6 hours a day, and sometimes it's 1 hour, sometimes it's longer. It kind of depends, right? And the reality for me is that my intention again is to be cognizant and conscious of every movement, every moment in my life. So everything that I do, how I do it, why I do it, what's the quantum in it, not just to do something. And so for me, I'm aware of the energy that's around me. I'm aware of the people when I'm walking into a room. I'm aware of, who I'm talking with and how in other words, I'm kind of putting myself in their shoes. I actually do what I'm sharing with you, by the way, in all these contexts. So I'm very cognizant of you. I'm conscious of how I'm moving my hands. I understand all the dynamics of where I'm at and what's going on. And so it's a process, though. And so when you ask me, what do you do? I look at that individual, and my point is to understand where they're coming from, rather than to judge or to say this or that. And this might be what you've experienced during these times together, is that my intention is to give you higher level perspective, not so much tell you my personal opinion, because it's important to come from an understanding point of view. And through that understanding, you can stay still, you can stay present, you can understand the point in which all things are happening simultaneously.
For those of you guys that were on the show yesterday, do you see how this is all tying together at this point? Yesterday, we were talking with Scott Mason about Mount Olympus. He's brought us all of these Greek myths and everything during his time with us. And so we were brought up a mountain yesterday, and we brought up about this. And I was sharing about a meditation that I had recorded that I'm going to be re-releasing soon for those of you that have asked. I recorded a meditation that I refer to as the mountaintop meditation, and it takes the listener on a journey to the top of a mountain to look at their current situation and circumstances from that bird's eye view, because we get so caught up in being here in this moment and all of the things and overwhelm and just craziness. And so when we can take ourselves intentionally out of it and look in and go, oh, now there's a perspective I haven't seen before. Yeah. It's so important to do that, I think, but it's all tied in the last couple of days talking about mountains and viewing from the outside and this higher level perspective. It's all tying together.
Yeah. And so, by the way, it's not always that easy, right? Mm. We're in the middle of the emotion. We're in the middle of whatever that may be. And the more often that we can catch ourselves, as it's happening even, or just before you're about to react, for instance, the more that you can hold your place and realize that through this process, so, after this fight, after this circumstance is happening, how am I going to feel? What does that look like exactly? The more often that you could do that, the clearer you're going to become during, just as it's happening, right. And or just as you see the thing unfolding before you, and you're saying, okay, hold your place. Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah. I mean, it is like that practice, that mastering that needs to continue to happen. And then you'll find as time goes on with the practicing that it gets easier. And it even with, that's why I love using the symbolism of that mountaintop meditation, because even in just doing that, you have that symbol of the mountain and taking yourself out of the situation. And that picture just kind of stays with you. I don't know how it happens, but it happened. And so then the next time something comes up, you can think mountain, and then it's like, oh, I've taken myself out of this before. I know it's not as bad as it seems to be in the moment. I'm going to be okay. I can breathe. It's fine. Yes. And it helps us work through it a little bit better. I want to get your final thoughts on your, on mastering sales. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get your final thoughts about that. We're going to say hi to Juju, and talk about her show this afternoon, birthdays, all kinds of fun stuff. So hang on tight, everybody. We're going to take a quick break, listen to, our For Love poem in Ukrainian today, and we'll be right back after this.
Imagine a world where every child gets a great education. Educating all children is the only way to end poverty. This is what the Weiss Scholarship Foundation is working to accomplish. Our 6 staff members, our mentors and coordinators, who are on the ground in Kenya, are totally engaged in every aspect of our students' lives, so we can give them every opportunity for success. In just a few short years, we have already awarded 141 scholarships. We send children to high school who would have never gone without our support. And then we help them go on to either university or vocational school. We have already scaled our holistic business model to 4 locations and are ready to scale it to many more. Today it's Kenya, but tomorrow it's more countries. Please contribute what you can today. You can make a one-time donation, a recurring donation, or choose to sponsor a child all on your own for all 4 years of high school for just $3,500. Go to our website, www.weissscholarshipfoundation.org.
Заради любові я відстоюю кохання із розбитою душею, коли серце моє плаче. Я відстоюю кохання, щоби вистояв весь світ, та не тільки моя хата, де мені безпечно й добре, а весь світ і назавжди. Я відстоюю кохання, бо нам треба більше світла, щоб не було більше смерті, що летить з осколків бомб. Я відстоюю кохання із розбитою душею, коли серце моє плаче.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I just love our For Love poem from Dorothy Auger, and I loved hearing that version in Ukraine. Actually, Olga read that version in Ukrainian and also in Russian, and it was such a powerful moment. This all came out right as the war began and all of that started, and we put together that whole beautiful compilation of all of our Ukrainian and Russian speakers speakers together. And it was a whole moment. So I encourage you to go visit WeShallStandForLove.world to learn more about that project. And thank you, everybody in the comments, for standing for love with us this morning. We appreciate you. Kenneth, what final thoughts do you have for us about mastering sales and also about self-mastering altogether?
Yeah, thank you. The point that's important in my mind to share with you about mastering sales is that when you put yourself in other people's shoes, and it's not a cliche, it's really truly putting yourself in somebody's shoes. It gives us the ability. By the way, every word that I'm saying actually is an important piece to the context to get to, because there's a syntax to it. And it's really important to come from the point and understanding to relate and to understand the other person's point of view. And the reason why that's important is that it gives us the ability to see ourselves, to be a better example for ourselves. And it reminds me of when we're watching, I might have mentioned this before, when we're watching people in a mall or somewhere around, we're actually, because our eyes are the windows to the soul, we're actually seeing through those people to understand ourselves better. And so it seems like the world is going on, in our lives, but it really begins and ends from within us. It really is that, and it's so simple, it seems though, but it's really the center part of the truth, right? And so I would say that anytime that you're speaking with somebody about mastering, yourself, mastering the principles that we've spoken about, focus on your intentions, and your intentions will lead the way to everything else. And then check your intentions. What are my intentions with this person, with this situation? Catch it before it occurs, or before you get into that relationship, before you do certain things, because that is the intention itself is going to lead you through the path of the outcome. It's kind of like, what's the influence? The influence that we give each other is there's going to be an impact. There's going to be an outcome. And sometimes it's not that easy, but the sooner that we do that consistently, the more we're going to be happier, healthier, more fulfilled, have more love and light and finances and joy in our lives. And those are the things that I would want to share as it relates to wrap up this topic.
I love it. I love it. And I agree with you 100%. And I know that this has been amazing timing for everybody that's been sharing in the audience this morning. Brittany said, wow, I was just talking to my soul sister about perception. Nothing is a coincidence. I was just talking to my daughter about perception. A lot of the things that we've been talking about this morning has been resonating for everybody. And Brittany also said she loves it. And thanks you as well for your perspective. Speaking of perspective on mastering your inner game and mastering sales. I want to remind everybody you can visit Kenneth on his website, KennethLord.info. Is there anything else you would like to share about what you have going on right now, where they can find you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so you can email me if you'd like, KennethLord@yahoo.com. And just keep growing. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to share my thoughts. I'm happy to chat with you. It doesn't cost anything. I'd love to be able to get together with you or learn more about who you are and help you to the mastering your inner game, so that you can be the best example for yourself, so that you can be a better example to others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. It's been so amazing to have you on the show the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It has gone very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even at 5 a.m. Kenneth.
Yeah, I know, right? Yes. This morning was one of those moments where I had to really wake up. So
yesterday I was sharing my son. Sometimes my son has to go into work for 8 o'clock, but I'm ending the show at 8 o'clock, so I have to bring him early. And so yesterday we leave here at 6:30, And we go to leave, and I'm realizing I'm not hearing anything upstairs. 6:22, he woke up. And I was like, come on, let's get it together here this morning. Always fun to try to wake up. And if that's not your typical waking time in the morning, absolutely. For sure.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate you. You're doing an amazing job. Keep
absolutely. Would you like to stay with us to say hi to Juju and all of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I want to introduce somebody to you guys who is premiering her show at 11 a.m. Central Time today. She is amazing, known as Juju Divine Empress. Her show is called Learning in Silence, and we're going to find out if that means we'll be just staring at her for an hour or not. So without further ado, let's welcome Juju to the show. Juju is here.
Hey, namaste, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste. Good morning. It is so good to have you here today.
Love that tree.
Thank you.
I know we're all always talking about that every time we meet with Juju. She's got the tree, and we're like, we feel peaceful and all of that.
Yes,
that was a good gift from my friend Brittany.
Yes, we love Brittany too. Thank you, Miss Brittany, for providing the tree for our piece in the background. So your show's starting today. We're very excited. Learning in Silence is the name of the show. Does that mean we will be staring at you in silence for an hour?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's a show where I will be sharing stories that I have overcome and still healing in my journey that I'm going on. And I want to be able to share with others that just as me, that I have gone through stuff, that we could be able to create, confidence, self-love, self-confidence, self-healing, just all that together. And I also want to bring awareness in a lot of topics where a lot of people they don't want to touch these topics, but I want to bring them out to the world and let people know about this and help other people,
That's that little fireball in Juju. That's gonna. You guys think she's real quiet and stuff? It's not.
I am quiet. I am quiet.
Just wait. That's all I'm gonna say. But you're gonna be talking about mental health awareness this afternoon, and with a fabulous guest, Amanda.
Yes.
Amanda's
I got my team in my side. I got Brittany and Amanda, and Learning in Silence wouldn't be as far as it is if it wasn't without them. Of course, with you, Jessica. Of course, with you.
It really does, honestly. And I'm sure, Kenneth, you can relate too. It's nicer when you're putting out a project to have a group of people around you that are supportive and just ready to jump in and help when you're coming into a brand new space and learning all of these things. Sometimes learning in silence is good, and learning in a group is good too.
Yes. That's the best time when you take your step back and you just, self-awareness type of way, self-love, that's when you learn how to heal on a daily basis. That's the way I see it. That's why it's called Learning in Silence. I learn in silence.
Taking a step back. It's a good, I mean, Kenneth talks about pondering throughout the day. Is that, could you also classify that, Kenneth, as learning in silence?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always that way. Whenever we're silent, whenever I'm peaceful. But I think that Juju would have to tell us if that's similar, because when I'm reflecting internally and pondering, there's definitely a learning. There's definitely conversations and so forth happening, right?
Yes.
And so yeah.
Yeah, I love that. We're very. Brittany said, "Yeah, okay, Juju, quiet, not a thing." I love and I love that. I've said we had a whole Juju moment the other day that Juju's very organized, and it's been such a pleasure to work with her, because I feel like it's been easy from the beginning. There's been no issues at all. It's been just flowing. And for me, that says that was supposed to happen, because it has been such a flow and such an ease in the process. And so we're excited for you, Juju. 11 o'clock Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Breakthrough Show Network, with Juju, and Mandy will be on the show today too.
Yes. She's my
Great.
partner in crime, as I call it.
Nice.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Okay. I did not have, when I went to go look up birthdays this morning, I had no birthdays on my Facebook page. There's lots of birthdays in the celebrity world, but no birthdays of anybody that I know personally. Do anybody else have anything they're celebrating today? Either of you, other than the show?
No, I don't have anybody at this moment or anything.
Not today, but tomorrow I do. My baby turns 23.
Oh,
Nice.
Gosh. Couple years ahead. Are you in denial like I have been? Like, I just don't want to.
It's still 7 for me, so shh.
That's exactly how I've been. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I'll mention it and then moving on.
Nice.
Well, in the celebrity world, actress Helena Bonham Carter has a birthday today. Love her. She's been in so many things, from Harry Potter to what's the one that I'm thinking of with Johnny Depp? Now I'm having a whole moment. I'm having a moment live on air. But she's an amazing actress. Singer Lauryn Hill's birthday is today. Singer Stevie Nicks, singer Lenny Kravitz's birthday is today. Actor John Wayne, singer Hank Williams, and astronaut Sally Ride have a birthday today.
Amazing.
Yeah, lots. Some people I always look them up, and then I'm like, I had no idea they shared a birthday. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. I would love to hear Lauryn Hill and Lenny Kravitz together. Can we petition for that? That would be awesome. Ooh, yeah. All right. Are we ready for our birthday song? Here we go.
Yes.
Oh, Juju hasn't joined us for a birthday song before. Here we go.
Go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Helena Bonham Carter, Lauryn Hill, Stevie Nicks, Lenny Kravitz, John Wayne, Hank Williams, and Sally Ride. Happy birthday to you. Yes. Look at that. We had a whole chorus this morning.
Nice.
I love it. We sounded beautiful.
Yes. See, the album will be coming out in just a few weeks. Stay tuned. It's dropping. It'll be hot. Oh, I love it. I love it. Kenneth, thank you so much for being on again for this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's an honor to be here, and I'm grateful that you're going to be launching your new show, Juju. Thank goodness, right?
Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate it. Thank you.
People will love to hear your voice and receive the wisdom that you have and inside of you. So good job. It's good for you to do that. Yeah.
I love it. And that's how we, this whole, it's so important for me to create that space for people to be able to share their stories, because that's how we learn. That's how we find, as Kenneth shared beautifully this morning, those relatable moments, and we learn from each other, and we can, I would much rather learn through a story and someone sharing their experience than someone saying, this is what you have to do with your life. I would much rather learn, sit around the fire, pour a cup of hot cocoa, and let's listen to the stories.
Yes.
Yes.
But just on that note, a side note is this: what do stories do for us, anyways? What are stories to each of us? They're abilities for us to relate to things through a story in our own lives.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To enlighten
Absolutely. Yep. New perspective. Speaking of perspectives, for all of you that have been talking about that in the comment as well. Thank you, Juju, for coming on this morning. We'll be seeing you in just a couple hours. It's going to be amazing. I want to thank everybody who's been watching or listening today. Don't forget to tune in 11 a.m. Central for Learning in Silence with Juju Divine Empress. And also Mandy will be joining her today. And I want to remind you that Fun Friday is tomorrow. Anything goes. You'll just have to tune in and find out. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I want to remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
You've been tuned in to Project Joy Live with Jessica Dugas, your weekday morning talk show, inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes only on the Breakthrough Show Network. Binge all past episodes of Project Joy at projectjoypodcast.com. Until next time, help us spread the joy by sharing this episode, and we'll see you soon.